Have you ever felt like an exile at your own dinner table? You sit there, surrounded by the people you love most in this world, the people who raised you, and yet a chasm separates you. That chasm is your faith. It's the conviction you hold in your heart, a source of profound strength and meaning for you. But to them, it's a point of confusion, disagreement, or even ridicule. You want to connect, but you feel like an outsider in your own home. You're not seeking a fight, but you refuse to shrink. This is the Stoic Christian S dilemma. How do you maintain inner peace and unshakable conviction when the people closest to you do not understand, or worse, don't approve? The answer isn't to build higher walls around your beliefs. It's to build a stronger foundation within yourself. An inner citadel, fortified with logic, peace, and purpose that can stand firm and radiate warmth, no matter who disagrees. This isn't a theoretical problem. I've seen this exact struggle tear good people apart. I once mentored a young man, a brilliant engineer named David. He had found a deep and transformative faith in his late 20s, a stark contrast to his family of staunch atheists and academics. They saw his newfound belief not as a source of strength, but as a regression, an intellectual failure. Holidays became minefields. Every dinner was a cross-examination. They'd pepper him with questions designed to trap him, to mock his leap of faith. He told me, "Cassian, I feel like I have to choose between my God and my family. I love them, but their disapproval feels like a constant storm I can't escape." David was caught in a classic trap. He was allowing his internal state to be dictated by external opinions. His peace was contingent on their approval, and because they withheld it, he lived in a state of perpetual anxiety. The core Stoic principle here, articulated by Epictetus 2,000 years ago, is the dichotomy of control. Some things are up to us, most are not. Your beliefs, your character, your responses, these are yours to command. Your family's beliefs, their opinions, their reactions, those are entirely outside of your control. The moment you tie your sense of peace to their validation, you hand them the keys to your mind. You become a puppet, and their words are the strings. Our work together began not with crafting the perfect theological argument to win them over, but with severing those strings. The practical exercise was simple, yet profound. Before his next family visit, I had him write down 2 lists. On one, things I control, my patience, my choice of words, my decision to not engage in hostile debates, my prayers for them. On the other, things I do not control, their opinions of my faith, their sarcastic comments, their ultimate beliefs. He was to read this list every morning. This wasn't about apathy, it was about strategic focus. It was about redirecting his energy from the unwinnable battle of changing their minds to the winnable one of mastering his own. Are you anchoring your emotional well-being to the shifting sands of other people's approval? Or are you securing it to the bedrock of your own reasoned character? The first pillar in building this inner citadel is what I call acceptance without resignation. This is a crucial distinction. Modern culture often conflates acceptance with surrender, with a passive resignation to circumstances. But, for the Stoic, acceptance is an act of supreme strength and clarity. It is the practice of seeing reality exactly as it is, not as you wish it were, in order to act effectively. You must accept that your family holds different beliefs. You must accept that they may never understand. You must accept their right to their own path, however much you may disagree with it. This is not resigning yourself to a broken relationship. It is freeing yourself from the poison of resentment. Resentment is the futile wish that the past were different. It's a self-imposed prison where you are both the inmate and the guard. A woman I worked with, Sarah, a successful executive, struggled deeply with this. Her mother was devout in a very different, more rigid expression of their shared faith. Every conversation was laced with judgment. You're not raising the children correctly. Your career is pulling you away from what's important. Sarah spent years in a state of quiet fury. She would rehearse arguments in her head, imagining the perfect comeback that would finally make her mother understand. But it never worked. She was fighting a ghost, the ghost of the mother she wished she had. Our breakthrough came when she embraced radical acceptance. She had to mourn the relationship she wanted and begin engaging with the one she actually had. She had to accept her mother in her entirety, with her criticisms and her flawed love. The practical application of this is to shift your goal. Your goal is no longer to change them or to win their approval. Your new goal is to show up as the most centered, virtuous, and loving version of yourself, regardless of their response. This is a game you can always win, because it depends only on you. Before your next interaction, set a clear intention. Instead of, "I hope this conversation goes well," try, "My intention is to remain calm and loving, no matter what is said." Instead of, "I hope they finally see my point of view," try, "My intention is to listen without judgment and speak my truth without aggression." This small shift moves you from a position of hope, which is passive, to a position of intention, which is active and within your control. This is the essence of Stoic Christianity. It's not about hiding your light or shouting from the rooftops. It's about embodying your faith so powerfully, so serenely, that your very presence becomes a testament to its truth, a quiet force that needs no argument to validate it. Where in your life are you fighting reality, wishing for a different past or a different person, instead of accepting what is and choosing a powerful response? Are you operating from a place of hope or a place of intention? Once you have laid the foundation of acceptance, the second pillar is conviction without aggression. This is where the Christian ethic of speaking the truth in love finds its perfect partner in the Stoic discipline of right action. The world wrongly assumes that strong conviction must be loud, that it must be argumentative and forceful. This is a profound error. The most powerful conviction is not the one that is shouted the loudest, but the one that is lived the most consistently. Your life is your argument. Your character is your evidence. Aggression in matters of faith often stems from insecurity. It's a desperate attempt to force external validation for an internal belief that feels shaky. When you truly possess an iron mind, a faith that is integrated into your very being, you no longer feel the need to attack or conquer opposing views. You can hold your ground with a quiet dignity that is far more compelling than any heated debate. Think of the Roman centurion at the foot of the cross. He wasn't converted by a sermon or a theological treatise. He witnessed a man who lived his conviction, even unto death, with a strength and grace that defied all logic. He saw truth embodied, and he said, "Truly, this was the Son of God." That is the power of lived conviction. I advised David, the young engineer, to adopt what we called the rule of action over argument. When his family would try to bait him into a debate about evolution versus creation, he would politely decline. He'd say, "I respect your perspective, and I've found a different path that gives me peace. I'd rather not argue about it. How is your work on the new project going?" But later, when his aunt was sick, he was the first one there, organizing meal deliveries and sitting with her for hours. When his cousin's business failed, he was the one who quietly offered a loan and spent his weekends helping him draft a new business plan. His family saw his faith not in his words, but in his deeds. His actions became an undeniable testament to a character transformed. Over time, the mockery softened, replaced by a grudging respect. They still didn't share his faith, but they could no longer deny its positive effect on him. Here is your practical tool. Prepare and practice what the Stoics called a premeditated response. Know in advance how you will handle the inevitable provocations. Don't leave it to chance. Have a calm, firm, and loving sentence ready. Something like, "I can see this is important to you, and I appreciate your perspective. For me, my faith is a very personal source of strength, and I prefer not to debate it." Or, "I love you too much to argue with you about this. Let's talk about something we can both enjoy." Rehearse it. Say it out loud. Make it your own. This isn't about running from a discussion, it's about refusing to enter a battlefield where no one wins. It's about choosing to model your faith through action and peace, not through conflict and aggression. Think about your last difficult conversation on this topic. Was your primary goal to be right, or to be a reflection of the peace and strength your faith provides? Think about your last difficult conversation on this topic. Was your primary goal to be right, or to be a reflection of the peace and strength your faith provides? What would it look like to let your actions, not your arguments, be your primary testimony? Type, "Continue to receive the next section." The third pillar is relational wisdom, and this is where we move from internal fortification to external strategy. Building an inner citadel is not about locking yourself away from the world. It is about creating a secure base from which you can engage with the world wisely and effectively. You cannot have a relationship with the person you wish your family member was. You can only have one with the person who is actually in front of you. Relational wisdom means setting boundaries with warmth and actively seeking common ground. A boundary is not a wall you build to keep people out. It is a line you draw to define how you can be treated with respect. It teaches others how to interact with you in a healthy way. A wall says, "I want nothing to do with you." A boundary says, "I love you, and this is what I need for us to have a healthy relationship." One of my clients, a man in his 50s named Michael, had a father who would constantly belittle his faith, calling it a crutch. For years, Michael would either get into shouting matches or simply storm out of the room, damaging the relationship further each time. The solution was a warm boundary. During a calm moment, Michael said, "Dad, I love and respect you. I know we see the world differently, and that's okay. But it's hurtful to me when you mock my faith. I need you to stop doing that. If you bring it up in that way, I'm going to tell you I'm not discussing it, and then I will change the subject. If you persist, I will leave the room, because I value our relationship too much to let it be defined by this conflict." It was terrifying for him to say, but he did it with love and respect. The first few times his father tested the boundary, Michael calmly followed through. He didn't get angry, he simply said, "Dad, like we talked about, I'm not having this conversation," and changed the subject. It took time, but his father learned. The jabs stopped. Their relationship, free from that constant source of friction, actually began to improve. The other half of relational wisdom is actively seeking common ground. Your faith may diverge, but your core values often don't. Do you both value honesty, integrity, hard work, service to others, generosity? Find those shared values and build on them. Instead of debating the afterlife, volunteer together at a local food bank. Instead of arguing about doctrine, talk about the importance of keeping your word in business. Connect on the virtues you share, not the theology that divides you. This is the ultimate stoic practice, focusing on what is common to all humanity, the pursuit of virtue. This approach doesn't compromise your conviction, it puts it into practice. It demonstrates that your faith is not an alienating dogma, but a framework that makes you a more honorable, reliable, and loving human being. You are keeping the door to their heart open, not by forcing your beliefs through it, but by living a life so full of virtue that they might one day become curious about the source of your strength. What is one boundary you need to set with warmth in your family? And what is one shared value, a common ground, you could focus on building and celebrating together? Now, let's move from principles to the arena itself. Theory is clean, life is messy. Let's walk through real-world scenarios and equip you with Stoic Christian strategies for each. Scenario 1. The ambush. You're at a family gathering, and a relative publicly undermines your beliefs with a sarcastic comment or a loaded question. Still talking to your imaginary friend in the sky? The old you would react with either defensive anger or embarrassed silence. Both are losing strategies. Anger validates their caricature of a reactive believer, and silence communicates shame. The trained response is what I call calm redirection. It draws on the stoic practice of emotional regulation. You must first create a microsecond of space between the stimulus and your response. In that space, you choose reason over reaction. Your response should be calm, brief, and aimed at de-escalating while maintaining your dignity. You could smile gently and say, "That's one way to look at it. For me, it's been a great source of strength. Did you see the game last night?" You are not taking the bait. You are acknowledging their comment without validating the aggression and immediately pivoting to neutral ground. You are demonstrating that their words do not have power over your internal state. You remain the calm center of the storm. Scenario 2. The pressure to compromise. It's a holiday, and you're asked to participate in an activity that directly conflicts with your convictions. Perhaps it's excessive drinking, malicious gossip about another family member, or a celebration you find spiritually compromising. The pressure is immense. Don't be a wet blanket, just this once. The untrained person either caves in, leading to self-loathing, or makes a self-righteous scene, alienating everyone. The Stoic Christian path is to stand firm with dignity. This requires premeditation. You must know your non-negotiables in advance. Your response should be polite, unwavering, and focused on your own choice, not on judging theirs. You all go ahead and have a great time. I'm going to sit this one out, but I'll catch up with you later. No lengthy explanations, no apologies for your principles, no judgment of their choices. You are simply stating your course of action. This communicates that your faith is not a flexible set of preferences but a core part of your identity. It shows quiet strength, not loud protest. As Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself, just that you do the right thing. The rest doesn't matter. Scenario 3. Building bridges. You feel the distance growing. The lack of shared faith has created a void. How do you proactively build a connection? The tool here is shared purpose. As we discussed, you find common ground on shared virtues. Turn this into a project. Suggest an activity that brings a shared value to life. I was thinking about how much we both admire Grandpa's work ethic. I'm trying to instill that in my kids. Do you have any stories about him I could share? Or, I know we both feel strongly about helping the community. There's a charity drive happening next month. Would you be interested in helping out together? By focusing on a shared purpose, you are co-creating a positive experience that reinforces your bond. You are reminding them, through action, that you are on the same team, the human team, even if you wear different jerseys. You are no longer the religious one, you are a son, a daughter, a brother, who is honorable, loving, and a source of strength for the family. In which of these scenarios do you feel most vulnerable? What is one small change in your approach, based on these strategies, that you can commit to practicing? This brings us to the blueprint for your mind. All these strategies, acceptance, conviction without aggression, relational wisdom, are not just tactics. They are the outcomes of a deliberately cultivated internal architecture. They are the fruits of an iron mind. Building this mind is not a passive activity. It requires daily practice and training, like an athlete preparing for competition. The dinner table is your arena, and you must be prepared. So, here is a concrete blueprint, a mental exercise you can begin tonight. I call it the premeditatio malorum for the family dinner, or the premeditation of challenges. The Stoics used this technique not to dwell on the negative, but to prepare for it, to strip it of its power to shock and disturb them. Here is the exercise. Sit in a quiet place for 10 minutes. Close your eyes and visualize the next family gathering. Don't imagine the ideal dinner, imagine the one that is likely to happen. See the people. Hear their voices. Now, specifically imagine the challenge. Imagine your uncle making his usual sarcastic joke about your church. Imagine your sister questioning your parenting choices based on your faith. Feel the flash of anger or hurt that normally arises. Don't suppress it. Just observe it, like a scientist observing a chemical reaction. See it, acknowledge it, and then let it pass. Now, in this calm, visualized state, rehearse your ideal response. Not a fantasy response where you deliver a crushing comeback, but a virtuous one. Visualize yourself taking that microsecond pause. Visualize yourself smiling calmly and delivering your prepared, calm redirection. See yourself standing firm with dignity, politely excusing yourself from a conversation that violates your principles. Run the simulation over and over in your mind. The purpose of this is to insulate yourself from shock. When the actual event happens, it will feel familiar. You've already been there. You've already rehearsed your virtuous response. You have stripped the event of its power to hijack your emotions because you have prepared. This is how you move from being a reactor to being a responder. A reactor is at the mercy of the event. A responder has a plan. I want you to take this a step further with a journaling prompt. After the visualization, open a notebook and answer this question. How would the person I want to be handle this situation? Write it out. Describe their mindset, their words, their actions. This person is your North Star. By defining them on paper, you make them real. You create a target to aim for. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius filled an entire journal with these kinds of self-instructions. He was coaching himself, building his own iron mind in the face of immense pressure. You can and must do the same. This is your challenge for the week. Don't wait for the next conflict to happen. Prepare for it. Conduct this visualization and journaling exercise at least 3 times. Train your mind. Build the pathways of calm, reasoned response so that when the test comes, you are ready. Will you commit to this training? To becoming the architect of your own mind? We have covered the dilemma, the philosophical foundation, and the practical pillars for navigating it. We've walked through the strategies for the arena and laid out the blueprint for forging your mind. Understand this. The path is not easy. There will be times you falter. You will get angry. You will feel hurt. You will react instead of respond. Do not despair. This is not about achieving a perfect robotic state of emotionless calm. It's about the effort. It's about getting back up, reassessing your strategy, and re-engaging with your principles. As Seneca said, the whole of life is a journey to virtue. The goal is the practice itself. The struggle you face with your family, as painful as it is a gift. It is a forge. It is a crucible designed to test, purify, and strengthen your conviction. An untested faith is a brittle faith. A faith that has been challenged, that has been forced to find its footing in the face of opposition, becomes resilient. It becomes integrated. It becomes real. You are not alone in this. Thousands are walking this same path, wrestling with this same tension between connection and conviction. But the strength you are building, the emotional resilience, the quiet dignity, the unshakable inner peace, is not just for you. It is a quiet testament to the truth you hold. It is a light. You may be the only evidence of a transformed life your family ever sees up close. Make it a compelling one. Your job is not to convert them. Your job is to control what you can, your own character, to live a life of such virtue, courage, and love that it stands as its own silent, powerful argument. Stop seeing your family as an obstacle to your peace and start seeing them as the training ground for your soul. This is the work. This is how you build an unbreakable mind and an unshakable faith. This is how you stand strong, not as an outsider, but as a quiet pillar of strength within your own family. The struggle is real, but so is the strength you are building. Go and do the work. If you are serious about forging this kind of inner citadel, about building an operating system for your mind that allows you to thrive in any circumstance, then subscribe and join the community of practitioners we are building here. In the comments below, I want you to share the toughest family faith scenario you are facing. I will read and respond to every one. We are in this together.